Yo, what's up guys, this is Magamu, and it's been quite a while since I've told you guys about a game that I'm actually excited about. It's been a really long time, but hopefully this game is going to change this, and I wanted to talk about it. Now, I'm not going to try to convince you guys to be excited about this game as much as I want to convince you guys why I'm personally excited about it, and why I think this is going to be something that is going to be pretty impactful, especially within the type of games that I like. Again, we'll get into that. So the game that we're talking about, it's going to be Bungie's Marathon. Now, if you guys didn't watch the PlayStation reveal that was a couple days ago, they revealed a bunch of games, but the thing I was most interested in was the short trailer for a game called Marathon. Now, the reason I'm excited about this, first of all, is at some point, some game developers have such a record of games that people have been pretty happy with and have changed gaming in some level that you just have to go, wait, this company's making a game, let me pay attention. And without a doubt, Bungie is going to be one of those companies, because once they make something, it's going to matter. You can say whatever you want about Halo, especially with the current state of Halo and Halo Infinite, but the games that Halo that are actually made by Bungie are actually quite amazing. The first few games are really good. You can say what you want about Destiny. I don't personally play Destiny, not really my taste right now, but you can't really deny that Destiny is one of the greatest looter shooter games of all time. And I mean, if you want to make the argument that it is the greatest looter shooter of all time, especially from a live service perspective, you could definitely make that argument. And its greatness kind of bleeds into the MMO culture a little bit if you want to compare it to other MMOs. So I think most of the things at large that Bungie has touched, they have created some really great products, even live service products. Now, the reason that people are excited about this is because Marathon, a new trailer that they showed, is being made by Bungie. Now, some people thought this is going to be a Destiny DLC or some other stuff, but this is an entirely new game. It's not a new IP. This is an entirely new game from Bungie, which is essentially going to be an extraction shooter. Now, if you guys don't know what extraction shooters are, you have to think games like Escape from Tarkov, the newer game Dark and Darker, the Cycle Frontier, Marauders, if you've heard of that one, Hunt Showdown, a lot of people play that. And I think Dr. Disrespect, the streamer, he's making a new game called Dead Drop, which also is going to be an extraction shooter. Essentially, extraction shooters are games where you go in, you try to get as much loot as possible, and then you try to get to an extraction point. Once you get there and you extract, you get to keep all the things that you have gotten throughout the map. Most extraction shooters are a little more leaning towards the PvP more so than the PvE. So a lot of times, even though there are PvE mobs, AIs, and enemies within that map, you really have to look out for other players that will try to eliminate you and take your loot. And to be honest, this is more of an evolution of the battle royale. I know a lot of people are not into battle royales, and me personally, I'm a little burned out on them, and I'm looking more into the extraction genre, because I do enjoy that kind of risk reward gameplay where you could take bigger risk and get bigger rewards. You could face down a bunch of actual people who are in the game who might kill you and take your stuff, or you can just extract with the loot you have. And that's essentially, why people like this type of game. Now, what is Marathon? Okay, originally I said that Marathon is definitely not a new IP. So before Destiny, before Halo, Bungie had a game called Marathon. This was essentially, you could call it a Doom clone, but maybe not so much. This was a very early shooter that people played way back in, I believe, the 90s. It appeared very much like Doom, but it had some things that improved on the genre, just like Halo improved on the genre here and there. And that's typically what you expect from Bungie. But for the most part, it was a 3D against 2D sprites shooter like you would expect from Doom. This is not going down that route, because that was a single player campaign game with a bit of a focus on the lore and the story. This is not that. This is a PvP game. Well, PvPvE or PvEvP. I don't know which one it is. You guys let me know. This is more of a PvP extraction shooter. So there's going to be no campaign, and a lot of people are going to be upset about that, right? Because the people who are fans of Marathon may say, well, I want a campaign or a story. Well, this is not going to have that. This is going to have more of a narrative. So the general idea of this game is you go into this world, you play runners. These are essentially like cyborg first-person characters, and you go in, you get different loot, different cosmetics. The cosmetics tend to affect your playstyle, which I'm kind of interested in that. They did that in Destiny as well. And it's going to have an emergent gameplay and narrative more so than what you would expect from a single player game. So apparently the more you dig into the world, the more you're going to get more story and lore, and it's going to unfold as you go. It's also going to have emergent gameplay in the sense that if a couple players do something, like for instance, they unlock a new zone of the world, then people can then go to that point, right? So the things you do in the world can affect the world and the gameplay of other people's future playthroughs. Now, the reason I'm excited about this is a couple of reasons. Again, I like the high risk, high reward of a game like this. I definitely like the graphics. Me personally, I've gotten depressed with the way shooters always have this brown and dark green and desaturated look. Like, it is really refreshing to see another shooter come out and offer a game that is essentially more colorful. Like, I'm done with the depression, man. I'm on medication. It's enough. I talked to my therapist and they said, hey, go check out this game called Marathon. So I'm excited about the way it looks. I'm excited about possibly the way that this is going to play, because you can say what you want about Bungie, but Bungie has definitely refined the modern first-person shooter in different ways that even if you don't notice, if you ask a game dev, they would definitely say Bungie really has taken the way a first-person shooter game feels and the way it shoots and the way you interact with other players. They've taken that to a new level, and history definitely supports that. So I'm excited about that as well. The world itself, so the way the world is going to work is it's going to be persistent zones, and you're going to be able to extract. So it's not going to be a full open world. It's going to be broken up into zones that you go into and you extract from. And it's going to have what seems to be these buildable artifacts. So you go in, you grab an artifact, you get another piece to it, and you get another piece, and you start building these artifacts up as you go along. That's where the risk might come into play, because if you have a couple pieces and you want to go for another piece, it may be a little risky for that. So again, that's the type of kind of gameplay that I tend to go for. And the interesting thing about this is that this is somewhat playable. Because I think a while back it leaked that Bungie was working on this for a while, but apparently somewhere they're testing this and playing this, and this is very playable. And it makes sense because, again, this game is going to be built off of everything that Bungie has been doing in the first-person shooter genre, especially Halo, but I would say Destiny as well, over the last 10, 15 years. Like, they have been building solid first-person shooters for as long as most of us have been alive, especially some of you guys. I might be a little bit older. But those are things I'm excited about. I'm excited that it's built on the existing first-person experience of Destiny. I'm excited that it's the high risk, high reward of extraction shooters. I know a lot of people are not into that. I'm excited because it's a colorful, visually presented world. I want to get rid of my depression and stop taking this medication. Can we get some brightness and color? And just overall, I'm excited because it is a genre that I've been interested in for a while. Now, again, the criticisms here are valid. Like, how much narrative can you do in a PvEvP shooter, right? So the people who are fans of Marathon, again, I totally understand where you're coming from, saying we would have much preferred a campaign. But I'm going to be honest with you, you probably would have never gotten that game because you haven't gotten it up until this point. And mainly what I think happened is they were probably going to build a game like this anyway, an extraction shooter. And then they went, okay, as far as IP, what can we do with this? Well, we've got this 20-year-old IP, Marathon, that we haven't used at all. So let's place it into the Marathon universe. So the alternative of a Marathon campaign, I don't think is realistic, because Marathon is probably just thematically tacked on top of this game, a game that they were probably always going to make anyway, right? They weren't going to make Marathon 3. Wait, am I wrong? Is there? I don't think there's a Marathon 3. Someone check that for me. So that's a game I'm excited about. I'm curious what they're going to do with it. Unfortunately, I don't think that we're going to get much information going forward, even though I'm excited about this, because the devs are basically not going to release any information for a while. But the good thing is that we do know they are playing it, they are testing it. And if I had to guess, this is probably not years away. This is something that's going to come pretty soon, because the extraction genre is not a genre that is very hard to build, kind of like Battle Royale, which I also want to talk about maybe in a future video, how I think honestly extraction games like this are the natural evolution of the Battle Royale. So people who may not have liked Battle Royale, I tend to think are more prone to try something like this, especially with the PvE elements, the story, but mostly that you have PvE enemies and AI in the game. So you still have that option of not always fighting other people. So I don't know. I think this is a natural evolution of BR, where I think BR is kind of a stale formula for me personally at this point. So the game looks good. I'm excited about it. I'm excited to see what they were planning to do with this. I don't know. It's pretty interesting stuff. I don't know. You guys let me know. More than likely, I'm probably more excited about this than you guys, but I'll be talking about some other games coming up in the future. So I don't know. We'll see. Good to talk to you guys again. Talk to you later.